Okay, now these are the patterns that I use to make the holster. Now, if you want to make your own pattern, you just need to start somewhere. And then after you make your first one, and then you fit your gun and everything, you'll find out what's wrong with it. Then you have to change it. And then, but now you have something to work with. And so now this is my first one here, and you see the stitching's different. I had to make a little bit more changes, and I keep making a little bit different changes. There's number 2, and there's number 3. There's a little more changes on each one, and I'm going to be making, that's what I'm getting ready to do now. I'm going to make another 4th one, and then once I get it down correctly, then I'll make more that'll be shorter for smaller firearms. This one here is for medium to large frame semi-automatics, and I'll be able to start doing some modifications to it, make it a little smaller for smaller. This whole thing will be smaller for smaller semi-automatics, and I'm going to have to do the same thing with revolvers. But you start, and then you start modifying each one. That's how you make your patterns. Okay, what we're working on is this holster, this gun holster, and this is the pattern that we're using to make it. Now to start with, we cut the leather into a strip. Strip is just a hair wider than what we need, but anyway, that's the way it is. Now, instead of, we could make it by 2 pieces, putting 2 pieces together to make this, but what I've chose to do to make it stronger is I'll fold it over like this. Okay, now what you do is you stick it in water. I got water right there, and what this water will do will soften up the leather. Yeah. Especially how thick it is. I got some really thick leather here. Okay, now some of this leather, see on the end, isn't too good, so we're not going to go straight to that end. So we're going to shorten it up a little bit to make sure we can get rid of that. Okay, there we got it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is right where that fold is, I'm going to cut a notch out on the inside and make it easier to fold over. We cut a notch out of it, and now we can fold it over better. Okay, now what I'm going to do is stick it in the vise sure you line it up straight. And then you so we smashed it down. As you can see, it's a little longer than what we want, but that's okay. We're going to trim it up a little wider than what we want, but it's okay. We'll make it fit. Now we got it. Now what you do, okay, now let's see, I got this set up where this part goes towards the fold, and we want it right up against the fold. There it is. Now we line the pattern up. It's just perfect. Okay, now what I do is I use an awl to poke holes. We already know where the holes are going to be, so then we just start poking them. Okay, I've already used the awl and punched a little spot, all the little where the stitching is going to be. Now, where the belt loop is going to be, we'll mark it with a pencil. And now we have it. See where the belt loop's going to be and where the stitching's going to be. Okay, we're going to be making the belt loop slots. That's what we're going to do now. And what we're going to need is a punch, and then a chisel. This is an 1.5 inch chisel. That's the size of my belt. So that's what we're going to be using right there. And we need a good hard surface, and I put an old piece of leather there to protect the blades. Okay, now the first thing we're going to do is we know where the slots are, so we get on the upper end, or on each end. And then punch it. Then at the other end, and it's through. Then we do the same at the other end. After we've made the holes on the top and the bottom end of the belt loops, now what we do is we connect the dots using the 1.5 inch chisel. You see, it's cut through. We go to the other side of the same hole. There's our belt loop. We do the same thing for the other belt loop. Okay, now what I've done, I've put a clip on here to hold it so it won't scoot back and forth. And this end is all together, one piece, so that holds it together too. Now when I drill, I'm going to drill completely through both layers. I use a Dremel tool because of the small bit. I think it's a 5/64 bit. You just drill it on through to get all of it. Okay, I've used the Dremel tool and I've drilled all the holes. This is where the stitching is going to be. So now it's done. Now what you need to do is you go back and just kind of clean up the holes. Okay, alright, we got the holster drilled out so it's ready. We got some slots made for the belt. Now we're going to glue. First we're just going to glue this part right here first. You see, this is where the gun sits. Like that. So we're going to glue this part and sew this first. Okay, I've glued the inside. Keep in mind, this is where the gun's going to be. So the glue is not where the gun's going to be. Okay, now we're going to place it back in the vise and then sew up the other end here. Stick the needles in here to make sure the holes are going to line up before we put the pressure on it. There, now it's ready. Okay, we're going to start down here and then work our way on around. So. Now we're ready. The vise really makes it handy for holding it. Okay, I finished putting the stitches in the other end. You can see we have some excess. It's not smooth. Okay, so now's the time you do some trimming. Good. Doesn't have to be exact, but you do need to start trimming it down to where you want it. This is the excess. And then we don't want the squared corners. Get rid of them. Okay. We got it right there. We're going to go on and punch those out. So we're going to punch those out and then use the chisel to finish up the holes on there. Okay, now we've punched out the holes. Now what we need to do is take the Dremel tool and take off the edges, sharp edges all the way around, and same thing in the holes for the belt. Okay, now this is also the time you flatten the edges, make them equal. And after you get them all rounded off like that, then you're just going to start cutting off the sharp edge. And then, like I say, do the same thing in your belt holes. Okay, see the sharp edge? This is where the belt loop is. So sharp edge. What we're going to do is come here and you see how it smoothed it out and make it easier for the belt to go in. So see, there it is when it's sharp, and that's after it's been smoothed out. Okay, I ended up using this little tool on my Dremel tool to clean up the holes. And then smooth them all out. So now it's all ready to go. Now we're ready for the water. Put it in water. You open it up, put it in water, and then get the gun fit.
Well, here's my brand new FNH FNX 9mm pistol. There's no ammunition in it. I just thought I would show you guys the holster I bought for it, because I don't see a lot of people talking about the holsters. As you can see, the audio just cut out. For some reason, my video editing software doesn't like the audio, and you'll hear it a couple times. But this is the Blackhawk Serpa holster for a Springfield XD 45. Fits in there pretty snug after my modifications. I mean, you'd be able to hear there's a little bit of shake, a little rattle, but not really a lot. As you can see, you know, it doesn't fall out when it's turned upside down. Takes a pretty good shake. It draws pretty clean. What I use inside really helps that. I think overall it's a great holster, and I believe it fits the FNX really well. As you can see, this is one of the pieces that's inside it for the retention. I pulled that out. Kind of caught on the gun anyway, so you use that screw right there. Unscrew that, thing comes out, you can screw it back in. That's how you adjust the retention of the holster. Basically don't need it. Here's the holster itself. I got the paddle attachment on it. I like that the most. And here you can see what I used on the inside. I put Velcro strips. You'll have to decide how much you want to put in there, though. I put quite a few in there because I like it. I wanted it to fit really snug on the sides and on the bottom, and then on the top to guide it in. Keep it from scraping up the top of the gun. I'm sure people are thinking that's stupid, but whatever. So, yeah, there's my FNX with a Springfield XD holster.
Hi folks, this is a holster and gear carry rig I call the Suspenders of the Apocalypse, and everything is mounted very high, separate cell phone carrier. The holster connects to the belt at the very bottom of the leather. This is kind of similar to a pancake rig, except suspended at the top. And when I put my jacket on, it pretty much disappears under a very short, straight length coat. This is a Jim March again. You saw me wearing my gear carrier and holster. Here, I've taken my belt off, so I'm about to take some still photos of the gear. But when I did, I realized I could show you just how well balanced these parts are. It is really a pretty decent balance between the two sides. And it really does act like suspenders and put less stress on my hips, don't need to compress my belt as much with this rig. I really like it.
Alright guys, today Dad, stop! Alright guys, today I'm going to show you Dad. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a paper sword and a paper sword holster. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need is some tape, some notebook paper, and then you're going to, so you're just going to grab the paper, you're going to roll it up into a circle, and then you're going to get the tape and you're going to stick it wherever the triangle part is. You're going to stick it wherever the triangle part is. And then, so you're going to make this one really, really skinny. This is going to be the sword. And then you're going to, and then you're going to, just worry about this part, not this part. You're going to fold it up real tight, and then you're going to tape it, and then you're going to pinch it at the bottom so there's no hole. and then you'll have just this. There'll be no back part. And then, so you'll have these two pieces. And how you make this, I just got this little notepad thing, and I ripped a piece of paper off, and I folded it in half, and then I barely folded it in half, but I really didn't fold it in half. And then I just took some tape, and you know when you do both sides are sticky, I did that, and I stuck it to one side and then the other side, and then that's how you got this. And then you just take the sword, slide it in here. Then when you're done, it should look like this, but you can throw it over so it can be sneaky. And then take it out and put ding. Oh no! Just pull it out and just like shing. Whoa! And that's how you make a paper sword and a paper holster. Dun 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 dun. Done.
Hello, this is Mike with NoStressMike.com, and what we're going to do is we're going to form a holster. I'm going to form a holster for this Glock. This is the way it's going to be. It's what we're looking for. First thing we do is put it in water for 1 minute. 1 minute in water. What it'll do is soften up the leather so we can work with it. Probably have to open it up a little bit to get the water inside. There we go. And the tools you're going to be needing will be a plastic bottle with a rounded bottom. Okay, you're going to need that. A spoon. I got a cheap spoon here, but it's better to get a better quality spoon, something heavier. But this will work. And I also use this is a tool for forming leather, for shaping leather. So that's what this is. Okay. Now let's see what we got here. Make sure. Looks like it's all. It's been a minute. And it looks like it got all the water. Okay. Alrighty. Now the leather's much softer. This is really thick leather I've got here. So what you got, you stick it in and then you start wiggling it. You're gonna think there's no way it's gonna fit, but it'll fit. And it's gonna be a tight fit, and that's okay. Okay. Okay, now what we want is we want this thing to be centered. Have the gun centered in the holster. The reason is it's going to be left-handed or right-handed. The holster will be, so we need to be able to have it centered so either side it'll work. That and the sight won't get caught as you draw it. It'll come out smoothly. Okay, now we've got that. Okay, you take your plastic bottle, you know where the trigger guard is, just start kind of working it and working it. And you do the same thing on both sides. You want to try to do it kind of equally on both sides. This way the gun will stay centered in the holster. And you just keep doing it. Keep working it. Be patient. Okay, now we're going to try the spoon. We're going to get it inside of the trigger guard. Okay, then we do same thing on the other side. Like you say, all the little, see, we're starting to take shape. You just keep working it. Now, like I was saying, this holster's, it'll be a left or right-handed draw, and it'll be in the belt or on the outside of the belt. It'll be you could use it for a cross draw or just a regular draw on the side or on the back, or in the small of the back. And the way you shape this will determine how hard it's going to stay in your holster. You can make it really tight or make it loose. The difference between this and something you would buy normally, you know, you would think, well, I'd want something like a policeman would use or the military would use, stuff like that. Now that's good if you're in the military or you're a police. But you got to remember, they're concerned about losing their weapon, either by somebody taking it away from them or when they're crawling around or jumping fences or whatever it is they do. But somebody like me, I'm 62 years old. I'm not going to be climbing no walls or doing any of that kind of stuff. Not with this holster anyway. This is something that's convenient. It's easy to carry. And it's real easy to get to. Matter of fact, I got in a gunfight in a convenience store. A gang came in to rob it. And I had this type of a holster, and I was able to draw with my left hand, put it in my right hand while I was being watched. And that's why I really like this. I've modified it even more, so it's even better now than what it was at that time. And like I say, so to me, access to the weapon is more important than if I'm going to be running around or jumping out of airplanes or helicopters. And so I want to be able to get to it easily. And that's what this holster was designed for. It's really for concealed carry, and it's to be able to get to it, to use it. Unlike a lot of carries, you can't even get to it. And like I say, there's multiple carries on it. You've got multiple uses for it. You can use it as a cross draw if you're sitting in your car or in the office. Cross draw is really good for sitting down. So if you're sitting in the office or, you know, something like that, cross draw will work. And then you want something comfortable, under normal conditions, it'll be on the back and with a small of the back. And now see, a lot of times I carry it on my back or the small of the back, and anytime I sense something's not right, I use a lot of zone defense. Zone defense is you figure out what's going on before it happens to you. So a lot of times I'll sense there's something's not right, and I can draw the weapon and have it and be holding it ready to start shooting, and nobody even knows that I'm armed, and the last thing they know that I've got it out and I'm ready to shoot. So that's why I like this holster, and that's why I've worked so hard on modifying this thing to get it even better and better.